Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome to my stream, welcome to part 2, working on the Colonial Viper from Battlestar Galactica. This guy right here, so let's get started. We got good, probably 80-90% of it assembled last time. This long black tube I've got sitting on my desk here is the main fuselage, painted black because I wanted to put in some putty and fill in a couple of the little gaps and stuff like that in this, and I wanted to sand off the top here to get this kind of smooth and kind of looking all right and getting it ready for paint. We have the rear part, which is basically our engines and our two wings. And this is going to go sliding in there, something like this, in that particular configuration. Sort of kind of like this. It's not exactly, I just put it in there. It really does, it fits in a certain little way and it locks in. But anyway, we're going to continue, okay? So we'll just put this aside because in our huge instruction book, which is 5 pages, we've got this all done. And we are getting ready to put these in, okay? So we've got some wing detail to put on. We've got our weapons to put on. All that fun stuff, all right? So we're on our second to last page here, where we need to put in, let me change the camera here and I'll show you here. Okay, so we have this. We have this wing here is going to go on there like this. There's no guide pins or anything like that, so you just get to kind of set it up and line it all up, all on your own, however you feel, whatever floats your boat on here. I'm just going to line up our edges here, like that, and that's how I'm going to do this one. So, with that like that, that's what I'll do now. Glue ready. A little bit of flashing to clean off of there. Okay, just make sure it's all smooth. Alright. I think I will use a clamp just to help me hold it in place while I'm gluing it. So, dump a couple of these out here. Just to help it stay where I want it. Once I got it lined up. That's pretty good like that. Let's just go ding. I think that's good. Seems to be flat enough that I don't really have to put a ton of clamps on it to get it to stay, but let's try and there we go, we got our leading edge done. So, let's put some down in there. And we'll go along our edge here. I don't think the clamps are really necessary to hold it, but just to help. So we're going to do this on both sides. And then I'll sand it down a little bit just to help it out. Now where it connects in here, I'm not sure if there's actually any contact. I've got some pre-rusting going on here. I don't know what that's from. But I've got a little bit of an orange stain here, which is kind of funny. So anyway, that's one side. So let's have a look at the other side here. We've got our other wing here. I think it's going to be basically the same kind of stuff, except I've got to fix up some rough patches in the flashing here, and their mold. Oops. Their mold here is kind of not exactly the smoothest thing. So just smoothing that out. Stop the interference. Okay. Oh, more back here. Not sure what happened with their mold process here on this wing, but we got all kinds of little things that are just sticking up. But that's all right. That's all fixed now. At least I think so. So now we'll try this again. Much better. Okay, so I'll get this kind of lined up again, like I did on the other side. Put a clamp here. I want to get this edge lined up too. That looks good like that. Let's get another clamp. Just to keep it there. There we go. Looking pretty good. I'm going to borrow this clamp. Put him right on this corner. Now, after telling you guys I probably don't need the clamps, here I am using these clamps like crazy. But it's really just the clamps are just holding it for me so that I don't have to. So I don't have to hold it with my own fingers. That's really what the reason is. It's not because it's really out of shape and not wanting to stay together. It's just so that I don't have to hold it with my fingers, that's all. That one's done. So we got this one glued up all the way around, so we're good to go. We'll just leave that for a second and let that cure. The next thing we have is our stabilizer piece. Now this one was two pieces, it's just two halves, and I went and put the two halves together. It's basically doink like this, same thing, right? Again, there's no guide pins or anything like that, so you just line it up and stick them together. And so that's what I did on this. So I just want to clean this edge up a little bit here. So I'm just going to grab some sandpaper here. Just grab a sanding sponge. 1000 grit should be enough to just smoothen it up. A little bit here, just on the edge. Just to kind of hide the fact that it's two pieces. Just a little bit. I'm not too concerned about it. This edge, I think I want to kind of file down a little bit. Get this a little bit more. more like it's one piece. Sorry for the squealing. There we go. Now that's going to be hidden, and you're not really going to see that it's two pieces. I believe there's a red stripe that goes along the front of this one, and so you're not going to see that. Here's another part of the lack of precision on their molding. It's lined up at the very top here, but it's not lined up at the bottom. You can distinctly tell there's two different levels here and here, which that sucks, but what are you going to do, right? I think for the most part that gets hidden. So I'll just shave off this little extra lip at the front of it. This is all stuff I would not have even considered as a 10-year-old kid trying to build this kit. Back in my younger days, I would have not have even considered, oh, this doesn't line up, I should shave it down, or anything like that. There we go. That's lined up now, just at the visual front edge, which is all we need. That's going to slide over this great big tab like this, and just sit like that. And as you can tell, the very front edge is a little bit covered by the engine intake nozzle there, but the rest of it isn't. So this is really not a precision fit. It's got some wobble, right? It's not really got any back and forward and back movement, but totally lots of flip-flopping that can go on. So I'm going to put a lot of glue on here, and I'm going to put a lot of glue on these tabs, and just put it in. It doesn't even go down all the way on top of the engine, so it doesn't fit flush on there either. So, excuse me, that's just the way they did it. So we've got the tops of our wings on. That detail's done. Excuse me again. A bit of a frog in my throat. So I'll just slather a whole bunch of glue. I'll use my thick stuff on here. There's a whole bunch. That on the top. Put a bunch on these. And put it in. There we go. Now the trick is going to be to make sure this thing is perfectly 90 degrees, and that's about there. The glue is obviously holding it enough, so because it's not really flopping on its own. So I'll leave it like that. That looks pretty good like that. We're at about 90 degrees, roughly. So, yeah. As long as I don't bump that in the next couple of minutes, that should be fine. I'll put my little clips away. Next, we have our weapons, our two little guns. These are one piece. These are one piece guns, but the molding that they did was very not aligned, and you could really see it on this little rounded edge. You could really see that they weren't aligned. So I shaved off the parting line that they had going on there. Not so much on this back edge, but on this rounded part I really shaved that down to clean that up there. And then across the barrel, you could really see that they just did not mold this properly. You can still see it through their little ridges here, where the ridges are not lined up, like they're not like this. They're like doink a little bit, right? It's just, they just didn't do a good job of it. They didn't care. There's no love in the molding of this. There's just no love. Anyway, these guys simply just go onto these tabs like this, and that's it. Nothing special about that at all, is there? So I'll use this stuff again. One thing that is kind of nice, I'll say it's nice, but it's also a bit sad on the detail of these kits, is there's not a lot of painting detail that you need to do. Not a lot of stuff is different colors or anything like that. So it makes it easy to paint. But if you're looking to really add a lot of detail and make a lot of stuff really pop as far as detail goes, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. Because if you wanted to paint all this stuff different colors, then it's not really going to be realistic to the show or anything like that. Same with all the detail in here, right? That's all in the show. It's all just the same color. It's all the same shade of gray. Now, speaking of shades of gray, if you look at the picture right here, this guy here, where are we? That picture there, okay? They looks like the plane's white, okay? Looks like the Viper's white. But when you actually watch the show and you see like the molds of the toys and stuff like that, they're all kind of this kind of shade of gray. It's kind of a, I believe it actually calls for, if we look at, they actually want you to paint it dark ghost gray, right? But I'm going to do light ghost gray. This guy here, I'm going to use Tamiya's LP37 light ghost gray. That's what I'm going to be painting this guy, kind of like that color. It's basically modern day USAF F-15 gray or something like that, or like an F-18 or something like that. Alright, our final piece. This guy goes in and he goes sliding in right here, just like this. And what I've found, you want to get this edge lined up right against the back inside there. And that's where the challenge comes. It doesn't really want, there's a little bit of a lip it needs to get over before it goes there. And then that's that. Just like that. This kind of, I'm going to put glue on there and glue this down like that. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap there. And I'll just do that. So, just do that. Okay, and that's how that's going to go. All right, so let's glue it. I don't want to put glue on this part because it's going to basically put glue all the way along the side of the engine there as it slides in. So I want to put glue on. I'm going to actually put glue on that after it's made contact. So. And it is too early in the morning for this music, so sorry. So, in there. Let's get this guy in place. Here we go. Okay. Now, lots of thin. Making sure I got glue everywhere. Okay. Assembly is finished. Assembly is done, guys. That's it. Done. I used to love when I was a kid, I used to set these things up like this when I had the toy, and I pretend it's a rocket. I used to love doing that as a kid, setting it up like that. So there we go. There is our Colonial Viper assembled. We've got a nice, I guess they intended you could have it on some kind of stand. They got a big hole right there, but then they have this for the stand that it actually comes with for it to sit on. So I'm not sure what their actual thought process was on that, why they drilled a hole through there as well as having this. But yeah, anyway, that's it. So we gotta paint it. So the first thing I'm gonna do, since I already have the front of it already painted, I can hold this like this and I can spray the back of it. So first thing I need to do is get my nice Mr. Hog Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500 black. That's what I used on the front. That's what I'm going to use for the rest of it. So I'll do 2 coats of that on there. And we'll turn this thing into a nice black beast here. So just bear with me a moment. I'll actually change the camera so you can sort of see what I'm doing. I don't have my other camera set up to show you guys everything right now, but yeah. So let's just start this edge here. This is the kind of thing where you need to get in at all the angles, and it's a bit tricky. Like I said, I'm going to do 2 coats on this. So this first one is just a preliminary cover all the bases kind of coat. Like I said, getting all the angles it's a bit of a challenge, but it's not impossible. So there we go. We've got a nice black bird. If you want to call it a bird. Okay, I'll give this a couple of minutes to kind of dry up a little bit. I do have a couple of fans going right now, so I do have plenty of ventilation, so don't worry about that. Okay. Unfortunately, for the camera, it's hard for you guys to see all the detail now that it's black. But the nice thing is this does dry pretty quick. The bottom is already dry, at least to the touch anyway. So I'll start with another coat on the bottom and get my second coat on there, and then we'll start with some color. There we go. I believe that's good enough. Okay, just like that, done. Okay, just gonna hold on to it for a minute here, letting this dry. Fire up my air compressor. So I have some light ghost grain, as you can tell by the label on there. It's already thinned, so that's what we're going to be painting this. So I wish I had like a little cup I could just go doink and have this thing held like that. That would be perfect. I'm kind of going to have to paint this in a couple of different coats, because I want to do some post shading. That's basically what I wanted. The technique I'm going to try and attempt at this is post shading, to kind of preserve a little bit of the panel lining, like you would on say an old weathered F-18 or something like that, right? Or an old F-14 that's seen a lot of use and all that kind of stuff. So I want to grab the stand for it, which I have. I have painted the stand black already, so that's fine. That's going to match it perfectly right now and hide it. And the stand just sits like this, like that, and then it allows it to sit like that. Doink, just like that. That's how it's going to sit. So, another song I don't want to hear. Okay. I will set up my other camera so you can watch me paint. So I know some of you guys do like watching me paint, so let's set this guy up. I think that's what we got. Yeah, roughly. Okay. Okay, that'll work. Okay. I think this is probably dry enough that I can just start painting away on it. Now I could have just grabbed a rattle can of the light ghost gray and just sprayed it, because that's basically what this thing is just all one color. But like I said, I want to do some post shading on it and all that fun stuff, and actually do some weathering on it. Okay, airbrush is ready to go. Like I said, this is thinned already. Fill up the cup about halfway. Okay, this is now dry to the touch. Perfect. All right, so let's get painting. This is where we're going to be painting. Good old stuff. All right. this up. Okay, you can see my finger is red from pulling on that trigger for so long. So I'm going to just take a minute here, and I'm going to add some more paint to my airbrush while giving my finger a little bit of a minute. And I'll add some more paint to my brush. So one thing I do hate doing is getting down to the very tip and you actually run out in the middle of spraying in maybe an area that is kind of crucial. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I was gonna say that looks like Battlestar, but I see the box in the top right. Yes, that's right, Joella. Okay, so my cup is full again. Just gonna make sure my tip is clean. All right, let's get back to it. And with that, we are done. There we go. Okay. Finally give my finger a break. Give my hand a little bit of a break from that. Whoops. Do that. I think I need to actually just do a little touch up on the nose here. Okay, there we go, just a little spot I missed. And I think that's about it. There we go. She's gray again, but just a whole different gray. Bingo. Okay, she looks a little nice and weathered, and looks a lot more realistic and stuff like that. I will do a touch up on the canopy there. I'll redo the glass in black. I'll do it gloss black, of course. And but that, guys, is where I'm going to leave it for today. I think over an hour of airbrushing is good enough for one episode. Next episode, we're going to do some weathering on the engines and stuff like that to get that looking a little bit more realistic and all that fun stuff. So that is where I'm going to leave this one for today, guys. And I want to thank you for watching, and I want to thank you for coming out. And thank you for the new subscribers, and thank you again for the comments left on part 1 of this. That was actually unexpected. I was not expecting a lot of comments on this particular one, especially when in consideration of all the Star Wars models I've built. I haven't got any comments at all on any of those, so I wasn't really expecting much on this, so thank you guys. That's a good surprise. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it. Description box down below is going to have some links to my other stuff, such as my Twitch channel and my Instagram, where you can take a look at pictures that I've taken of everything that I've built. Twitch, of course, if you follow me on there, you'll get notifications of when I go live like this, and you could talk to me live just like Uala did, and I ignored him completely. Sorry, Uala. Anyway, thanks again, guys. Thanks for coming out, and we will see you all in the next one.